Today is exciting. Usually I reserve my today is really special episode intro for guest stars, but today it's a solo episode and today it's a very exciting solo episode because today, as you listen to this, I have officially been working for myself for 10 years. 10 years ago on this date, I said goodbye to my 9 to 5, walked out the door for the last time, did not look back, even though I just want to be clear, I really liked everybody that I worked with. I worked at a great company. I appreciate them. But it was time to say goodbye and pursue photography. And 10 years ago, I wasn't sure I would make it 10 years. It was a very scary idea and it was a huge risk because I had already been established as a writer and an editor for 10 years. That was my career at that point, and I'd already sunk a decade into my work, and now I was gonna start all over again in a completely different profession and try to make it as somebody who was just running their own day, running their own agenda, running their own thing, which is hard and scary. So I was not sure I would make it 10 years. And somehow I did. Now I say somehow lightly because I know how I did it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Today, I am giving you 10 hot takes for 10 years that I've been in business. I am just going to give you my raw, unfiltered view of what it was that kept me in business this long and built a successful business and also just something that I feel really proud that I've done. How did I do that? I'm going to tell you right now. First hot take. I say this with love. I say this with a lot of love. You are too worried about how you look on camera. I'm so sorry. You are way too worried about how you look on camera, and you're not worried enough about your brand awareness. And I say this because I see women doing this to themselves all the time. Um, Women-led businesses, we often have to get in front of the camera. Well, all businesses, we often have to get in front of the camera, no matter what we're doing, no matter what we're selling. At a certain point, we become the face of our business, whether it's through networking or social media, speaking on stage, a lot of different mechanisms. But something I see specifically women doing is saying like, oh, I can't do that because I don't like the way my arms look. I can't do that because of XYZ. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It does not matter how you think of what you look like in photos. And what does matter is number two. But I'm going to get there. You're spending too much time worrying about how you look on camera, and you're not spending enough time worried about brand awareness. And so when I say women do this, I say that because I have worked with men over the years, and they don't care what their arms look like on camera. They don't care what their chin looks like. They care about having marketing assets to run their Facebook ads and make money with. That's their number one concern. And it's not like they're not in their own head about how they look on camera. They just don't let it affect the final result or the final decision of what they do with those assets. They know they're going to throw them up in Facebook ads and use them anyway. So don't stop yourself because there's something that you're like in your head about, because your number one job isn't to look a certain way on camera. Your number one job is to bring awareness to your brand. So when I say you're too worried about how you look on camera, it's because number two, how you feel on camera doesn't really matter anyway. How your client or customer feels when they see you on camera is everything. And it's okay if they see you on camera being a little bit unsure. If they see you on camera and it's your first time doing this, that's actually totally fine. They can relate to that because it is really hard to get on camera. I think I should add that. I know it's really hard, but you're letting the wrong things stop you. And you're not letting the right things motivate you. You deserve to be on camera. You deserve to feel good on camera. Like that's like my motto, right? You deserve to have photos of yourself that you love, and that is always our number one goal. But don't let how you feel on camera or as the face of your brand influence what you do in terms of marketing and sales. You run a business. That should be your number one. Okay, that was kind of a harsh truth. I would say that might be the harshest truth, right? But what I want you to keep in mind is there are people out there that you want to work with. There are customers that want to buy from you. And when they see you on camera, something's going to click in them. They're going to realize something, oh, this is the person that's supposed to help me. This is the person that can change things for me. And that is going to be a beautiful moment. And you need to let it happen. And I'm not saying it's easy because I struggle with it myself. In 2021, I made a decision like, I'm just going to get on camera no matter how I feel about it. And that was rough for the first few shoots. I did not feel great about it. I'll tell you that. But ultimately, I needed to put myself out there. And I feel the same for you. You deserve to put yourself out there. And you deserve to love yourself on camera, which is why I say, like, you want to feel better on camera, come work with me. I got you. Don't even worry. All right. Number 3, selling your services is not gross or manipulative. You're just scared of rejection. So you're rejecting the sales process before it can hand you a no. I have talked to a lot of creators over the year, creators and creatives. And what everything comes down to at the end of the day is, are you closing? Are you booking? Are you booking clients? Are you selling your services? Are you getting paid? You don't have a business if you're not doing that. Nothing else matters. If you're not doing that, you have a really expensive hobby. So sales for your business is your number 1 hat. I would actually say it's your number 2 hat. Number 1 is marketing, and that's what gets you to the sales point of sales. But just like you're overthinking how you look on camera, you're also overthinking sales. Sales is not gross or manipulative if you don't want it to be. As long as you are transparent and honest, you're fine. But you do have to learn how to sell. And what I see is that when a lot of people who don't want to learn how to sell, just want like my work, I want my work to sell itself. We all want that. But often when I see people say that, what's really happening is like you're scared of rejection. You're not scared of sales. You're scared of hearing a no. So you're opting out before you can get a no. Because let's be honest, like a no is painful. You love what you do very deeply. And you want other people to love what you do. You want your work to change other people's lives as much as it has changed yours. And that is a beautiful pursuit. But it is keeping you from selling. It is keeping you from dedicating yourself wholly to understanding what your clients want in order to say yes. And you do need that. You do have to learn how to sell, which means you're going to have to hear no. Or you're going to have to hear from people, I think XYZ about what you do, or because you do or don't do XYZ, this is why I'm not buying from you. You do have to be willing to hear that. Don't let it be such a hard pill to swallow. And we're going to get to that part in a second. But selling isn't gross. It's just something that you learn. And really all you're learning is like, can I help people? What do you need help with? Can I do it? Great. Here's what that would look like. Here's how we fix things for you. You get it. It's doable. Okay. Number 4, failure is just as good of an indicator of future success as any other metric. If you are not out there failing in some capacity every once in a while, then you're not taking any risks. And if you're not taking any risks, you're just playing it safe. And if you're just playing it safe, you're able to do that because you're just repeating what other people have safely done. You're not doing anything first. Now, let's be realistic. Like nobody's really doing anything first anymore, but you get what I'm saying. Like you got to take some risks sometimes. You got to step outside the comfort zone. And I don't mean risk like something unreasonable to who you are or what you do or what your value is. But I mean risk in terms of something new, something bigger, something different, something slightly outside the comfort zone that really challenges you, but could have a big payoff. Like it's a risk that's like realistic for you to accomplish. It's not every day for you to accomplish it, but it's possible. It's doable and you know it. It just feels scary. Let yourself take that risk and let yourself fail sometimes. Because why not? Why not? You guys were on a big floating rock. Just take some risks. Go a little bit bigger. There's no reason it can't be you. All right. Number 5, no one is thinking about your every move, every post, or every email very much except for you. Do we hear overthinking as a theme? Yes, it is. Nobody's thinking about what you do as much as you do, and that's actually a really good thing. Thank goodness for that. Nobody's paying as much of attention as you think they are, and good. But what happens is I see people overthinking absolutely everything because they are worried about people's perception of them. You know, are people, if I get my photos done, are people going to think that I'm full of myself? Are they going to think that I'm overestimating myself? What are people going to say about me? Nobody cares. Nobody's thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. And in this situation, what ends up happening is you're thinking so much about what you're doing and you're filtering it through other people's lenses that you end up being your own worst enemy because you freeze. You don't do anything. Like I want you to think of a project that you've been sitting on for like 1 to 2 years that you know you would be amazing at, that other people know you would be amazing at, but you're in freeze mode for some reason. I want you to ask yourself why you're in freeze mode. Could it be because you are your own worst enemy and you're overthinking it and you're too worried about what other people will think? Well, let me ease your mind. Nobody's thinking. Nobody's thinking about it. Just do what you want to do. Take the risks you want to take. Have some fun. Get it out there. And if it flops, it flops. Who cares? At least you tried, but don't be your own worst enemy. Number 6, doing something imperfectly and messy is way more fun and interesting than doing anything perfectly. And I don't even know that I need to explain this that much. It's just the truth is like nobody cares about the perfection of it all, right? Think about for a moment the old days of Instagram where everything was like a super polished version of what we're doing now, right? Everything was perfect, everything was measured, everything was polished, everything was enviable, everything was a highlight reel. And I would tell you that it's not that way anymore. People are letting a lot more reality into their feeds. And I think that's a good thing. And I think it's important to do it imperfectly and messy because it gets it done. If you're trying to seek some level of perfection, it's never going to get done. You're always going to be working on it. And then you're back in freeze mode. And doing it perfectly isn't really that fun anyway for you or the people consuming it. So doing something imperfectly and messy is way more fun for you, but it's also way more fun for the people consuming it. So let yourself have some fun. Stop trying to make it perfect. Like we just talked about, nobody's paying enough attention to realize whether or not it's perfect. Just go with it. Just have some fun, do it imperfectly, and get your stuff out there. Number 7, if you want to grow your business, you have to emotionally divorce yourself from it. And this goes back to the first couple of points. You're thinking too much about how you look on camera. You're not thinking enough about brand awareness or how other people will perceive you on camera. And I know you're going to say like, oh yeah, I totally think about what other people are going to think about me on camera, but I don't mean in a judgmental way. I mean in the, how are you going to make them feel? How are you going to inspire them when they see you? And this is kind of what it comes back to is like, you have to, if you're struggling with that, I understand. I want to emphasize that so much. I want to underline that. I completely understand. What I'm telling you is I don't want it to stop you. And being able to sidestep that freeze mode of like, I'm too self-conscious, I can't do it. Being able to sidestep that is a result of being able to divorce yourself from your business to a certain extent. You can't be so in love with your business that everything has to be a certain way that you end up taking everything personally, right? And by that I mean like if clients give you feedback or somebody says I'd like to see this in your offer or I don't want to see this in your offer, not taking that personally. That's good feedback. You want that. It makes you better. It makes them happier and more likely to say yes to you, right? But in order to get to a space where you can have those kinds of conversations, where you can be constantly improving and constantly putting out a product or an offer that people are excited about, you have to kind of divorce yourself from it emotionally. You can't care that much. You have to care about whether or not you're doing a good job for people and showing up for people, but you can't be emotionally overwhelmed by your own business. You have to be able to step back from it. Number 8, you don't need more portfolio work. You don't need more portfolio work. You do need some, but you get a couple shoots under your belt or a couple of projects under your belt. You can start selling. You can start charging money. You might not be able to charge 5 figures or 6 figures, but you could charge some money and you should, right? And that's what's happening is you don't need more portfolio work, but if you keep telling yourself you need more portfolio work after you've done like a handful of portfolio work, all you're really scared of at that point is like charging real prices, right? Because there's a new kind of pressure when you charge money for it. When it's free, it's easy, right? You can do anything, you can mess up anything, it's fine. But when you're charging money, you have to be able to deliver something, and that scares a lot of people to go from portfolio work, no pressure, to charging real prices, kind of some pressure, right? But you're going to be okay. As long as you dedicate yourself to like hearing your clients, hearing feedback and being willing to fix it, you're going to be fine. So you don't need more portfolio work. You're just scared of charging real prices. Number 9, social media, email marketing, frequent in-person networking, referrals, publicity hits, or paid advertising. You have to do at least one of these all the time in order to grow your business, right? So I don't think you have to do all of these, right? But you do have to do at least one, probably 2 or 3 on a consistent basis in order to see your business grow by any means. And it's okay if there's some that you are repelled by. If you're like, I don't ever want to do social media, okay. But that doesn't mean you can also opt out of like email marketing, networking, and, publicity hits. You got to say yes to some stuff. You can't be like off the grid with your business and expect it to grow, right? It's not that you're just going to put amazing workout into the world and people are going to go, I magically found this in the most random place and I'm going to buy it. Would that we could. I would love if that were the way it goes. But unfortunately, you do have to get your work in front of people, and these are the means to do it. So pick one, pick two, hopefully, and then roll with it until you feel like you're really good at it, and then maybe add a third. All right. Number 10. Being good at your craft does not mean you'll be good at running a business. And unfortunately, making good work is not enough to get you booked and paid. Moment of silence for that. Kind of like what we were just talking about. I think this is one of the biggest bummers, to realize that like making good work is not the thing that like decides what if a business will be successful. Obviously, you need to make good work, but before you get to do that, you have to learn how to run a business. I am so sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that is the reality. That is what I have learned after 10 years. And look, after 10 years, I've tried a lot of experiments. I've opted to do lead magnets. I've opted not to do lead magnets. I have been on social media 24/7. I have been off social media for months. I have gone hard into email marketing. I have pulled back from email marketing. I have done weekly hardcore networking events. I mean, I have done weekly networking events where I am on for a number of hours and driving a long way to do it. And I have taken a few years off of networking events, right? I have been seeking out publicity hits, and I've rested on my laurels and not tried to get any more publicity hits. I've tried paid advertising, and I have not tried paid advertising. I have done the things. I've run a lot of experiments over the years, and it all comes back to the final truth of like, no one can buy from you if they don't know what you do, and you have to get it in front of them, and it has to be good, but the getting it in front of them is actually the more difficult part. But the good news is, if you can find a way to love that process, everything starts to fall into place. I hope my 10 hot takes for 10 years were just hot enough to light a fire under you. I hope that this gets you moving and gets you motivated. And I hope it makes you feel less alone, because I am sure that some of these answer some frustrating questions that people have about how do I run a business. And also, I hope that this reinforces how capable you are, because I truly believe that everybody has the skill to do their own thing, to follow their own dream, to go after what they want. And there are just some other mechanisms that need to be in place to make that possible. And sometimes it takes a long time to learn those mechanisms. And I want to speed that up for you. And that's what I'm hoping today's podcast did for you. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, please let me know. I will do other things like this if you want. You tell me. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you. Good night. See you next week.